Hi, I'm Slayster, and today I want to talk to you about how Fallout 4 is worth a second chance. Like a lot of people, I didn't actually discover the Fallout series until Fallout 3. I found it as a fan of Bethesda and a big fan of Morrowind at the time. But after playing and loving that, I did go back and play through Fallout 1. I played some of Fallout 2, but then a massive crash made me lose my progress in the game, and I never actually went back to finish it. One day I should get around to doing that. And as we mostly all know at this point, after the greatness of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, the hype was quite high for Fallout 4, so much so that it didn't really live up to that, and it left a lot of people with kind of a bit of a disappointed feeling, and I was definitely one of those people. The problems with Fallout 4 have been talked about to death at this point. I've even made a video on the subject myself in the past. And to summarise, that boils down to mostly problems with the main plot and too much forced character background that limits role-playing options. That works fine in a series with a fixed protagonist in something like, say, the Witcher series, but Fallout's never really been about that before. So they set up this big, oh my god, I must find my missing baby plot, but there's never really any urgency or rush to it. There are so many other things and distractions on the way that you never really feel all that invested in the rush to find your baby. And the game is designed so you kind of have to do those things in order to level up and be strong enough to go and do the main quest. So it all kind of doesn't really fit together smoothly. And so after my first playthrough of Fallout 4, I found myself kind of a bit underwhelmed. But then of course came all the DLC, and I decided I would go for a second playthrough. And what I found is that I actually enjoyed it a lot more, and that's for a few reasons. The main one being I knew how the lackluster main plot worked, so I basically just ignored it and went just for a nice sandbox adventure in the nice Fallout 4 world. It's got great graphics and loads of interesting locations to explore and things to do, and so I just went ahead and did that and completely ignored the main plot. I didn't even rescue Nick Valentine until I was level 50. And on top of that, all the DLC added to the world, although weirdly sort of indirectly. The Automaton DLC, for example, the Mechanist quest is only one quest and isn't the most exciting that they've ever released, but the fact that it also added a new faction of raiders to the world overall just added that little bit more variety when it's not the same things like invading your settlements every time. Just there's more new things. The same with the Vault-Tec Workshop, for example. The quest in there is a bit sort of mediocre, but all the additional things it adds to the settlement building system is most welcome. And then there's of course Far Harbour, which is a brilliant new area to play in, although you can't help but wishing they'd kind of made that kind of effort throughout the whole game. And there is of course always the wonder, how far in advance did they have this DLC planned? Should it have just been released with the main game in the first place? I don't actually know the answer to that question. But overall, with all this little added extra variety and ignoring the main plot and just treating it as a sandbox adventure, it was so much more enjoyable. And that of course is not even touching on the modding scene. I'm now on my third playthrough and I'm experimenting with mods, and there is of course the alternate start mod, which means you don't even have to pretend that the main plot exists because it already removes you from that. Although of course even that's not perfect because there's only so much a mod can remove from the game, and finding a holotape that tells you about a missing baby seems like even less of a motivation to go and find it than if it was your own. But it was interesting to play the rest of the game with all of those references removed, although there were a couple of places where it didn't really work. But like I said, when that's so integral to how the main game was originally designed, there's only so much a mod can fix. But the game's been out long enough that there's lots of great mods out there, additional quests and additional companions and stuff that brings more stuff into the world that makes it nicely replayable. So if you're one of those people who started Fallout 4 when it came out, kind of gave up because it was a bit annoying, I would say think about getting the DLC and giving it another go, because it is actually quite a good game. Fallout New Vegas is still my favourite, but I'm enjoying Fallout 4 still like a year and a half after it's out. What are your thoughts on Fallout 4? Have you played it? Did you enjoy it? let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.